It's the Luton part-timer, would you believe? A Chrysler car worker in Dunstable. He is nevertheless the European champion. And he comes into the ring in a blue short dressing gown, blue boots. And now we're going to have all the big build-up we get to these occasions. And this packed Albert Hall realizes that this is the big one of the night. In a moment, the MC, Joe Evans, will make the necessary announcements. And before the action starts,
Gentlemen, now, please.
Here is the announcement. And Joe, in fact, Joe Evans trying very hard to get a little silence here, but there really is an electric atmosphere here. And he's trying very hard in a very smart dinner suit just above us. He will insist on silence. And in fact, Dave Boy Green's taken off that leopard skin dressing gown and is now underneath wearing a red toweling jacket, looking really rather beautiful away to our left.
Gentlemen, please now. Gentlemen, during the gloving match session, I get an opportunity of presenting to you a few members and personalities of the profession. Firstly, the former undefeated light middleweight champion of Europe and Great Britain, the reigning Commonwealth light middleweight champion, soon to challenge for the world title, likeable Maurice Hope.
So the presentations, as always on these occasions, and I think, in fact, Joe Evans has got it right when he says the likeable Maurice Hope. Steps into the ring, very unusual when you see celebrities on these occasions in smart lounge suits, very different from the two men, of course, who are here for the action.
Ready to add further laurel to that of his present crown, the reigning heavyweight champion of Great Britain and the Commonwealth, John L. Gardner.
Well, we'll have that also, the returning of ex-heavyweight champion, John L. Gardner. He comes into the ring in a smart black velvet suit, waves to the crowd. He can wave, of course, because tonight it's not important for him. And as always on these occasions, he will go and have a word with both fighters.
Dedicated to winning the world's middleweight championship, and we wish him every success, the European middleweight champion, Alan Minter.
And now, why not? The man who's been alongside us for the night so far, Alan Minter. He's talked with us all night. He'll be talking to us very shortly with your commentator, Desmond Lynham. But just for a second, he gets a chance to take a little of the Albert Hall limelight himself. As a quick word, in fact, with Rhiney, and now with Dave Boy Green, with Andy Smith, ducks out of the ropes away to our left. Can you come back
Gentlemen,
to join us?
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, the main bout of the evening, presented by Mike Barrett, a contest of 12 rounds, of 3 minutes each round, for the Worldweight Championship of Europe at 10 stone and 7 pounds. Between and introducing to you, firstly, the former undefeated light welterweight champion of Europe and Great Britain from Chatteris, Dave Boy Green.
And that roar will suggest to you that Dave Boy Green could just perhaps be the favourite here tonight.
From Luton, the reigning European welterweight champion and welterweight champion of Great Britain, Henry Rhiney. With a weigh-in this afternoon, Rhiney scaled 10 stone 6 1/4 pounds. Green 10 stone and 7 pounds. Your officials appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control in accordance with the EBU rules are, firstly, the referee, Mr. Sid Nathan. Your judges are Mr. Harry Gibbs, OBE, and Mr. Mike Jacobs. The timekeeper is Mr. Tom Wright. Thank you.
Well, the action about to begin then very shortly now. Let's have a final quick word, not with Alan Minter, because he's going to work for us very shortly, but with his manager alongside us, Doug Bidwell. Doug, we're leaving the last word to you. Is it going to be the champion or the challenger?
Well, I fancy Green, but both fighters look very nervous. There's a lot at stake here for both of them. You know, I think the first 4 rounds will tell us all we need to know in this fight.
There we are. The fight will begin then. Your commentator, Desmond Lynham.
The quicksilver skills of Rhiney against the irresistible force of Green. That's what we're expecting here tonight. Let's see if it works out that way. 12 rounds, the new European Championship distance. At welterweight, of course, toe-to-toe in the center of the ring. Green tries to get to work to the body. He's a skillful boxer, Rhiney. Had 51 fights, no fewer. Gets the jab working straight away into the face there of Green. Was, as Doug Bidwell said, looked very nervous indeed just before the start of the contest. Why wouldn't he? The biggest occasion of his life, undoubtedly. Green, who's used to this kind of atmosphere, works to the body again, throwing, I suppose you have to use the word again, haymaker. That's the kind of punches he throws from low down on the hip, throws one or two to the body straight away, and then catches Rhiney with a short hook, and then Rhiney blocks the follow-up punch. Rhiney coming back with his own left jab. 27 years of age, seeking fame and fortune in the boxing ring after many, many contests in the small halls around Great Britain and indeed boxed around the world. Green never boxed out of Britain. Green gets the jab, working again himself this time, and Rhiney then throws an uppercut to the body and then pushes Green away disdainfully, and those nerves will have gone. Some of them will have evaporated now that the action has started. Listen to the crowd getting behind these boys here. A marvellous atmosphere at Albert Hall, a superb venue for professional boxing. And it's Rhiney biding his time for the moment, trying to stick out the jab there into the face of Green. Throws a right cross instead this time, and they lean on each other right in the centre of the ring. Green not throwing punches at the moment, and Rhiney doing the slightly better work with the jab in this opening 3 minutes. Then Green tries to work a little better, throws a round hook over the left knee, and works to the body, but Rhiney, an acknowledged superb skill boxer, throws the jab in and connects to Green's nose that time. Green comes back behind his own left hand, and they tie up in the centre of the ring. Sid Nathan steps in and parts them, and it's Rhiney, throws the right hand this time over the left lead of Green and catches him. A minute to go in this opening round for the welterweight championship of Europe, held by Rhiney. An uppercut from Green inside, trying to add some guile to his strength, according to manager Andy Smith, and throws the jab in again this time. 1-2 jabs from Green, and a good jab from him, and an uppercut from him, and a hook from him. And I thought for a moment that Rhiney was in a little bit of trouble and is warned there for ducking low by Sid Nathan. Comes back with his own long jab this time, and Green tries to work to the head. I thought Rhiney, wearing a little goatee beard tonight, I thought he was in trouble just now. He got caught with a fairly crisp hook there by Green, but he's come back well. Just ducked a bit low there, and then throws a right hand and a left hook, and Green showing the skills there, the defensive skills, sticking into the fire. Throws a right hand, making a right hook to the body this time, throws the jab, but it's really coming back behind his own left foot, toe to toe, gets a hand in the centre of the ring, and it's Rhiney, the aggressor, would you believe, pushes Green away from him, and going back for use of the head, and they box him out to the end. You believe that, you put it there. You're Minter.
Well, there's nothing in that round. I would mark that round about even, I would think. You've got Dave Green throwing his usual big haymakers, as you put it. You've got Rhiney trying to stick and jab. If I was Rhiney, I would lay back. I would stand away from Green and just pick him up with jabs. I think he might have a little bit more success in that by doing this. But it's a job to do so, because you've got Green that's on his toes all the time. But a very, very good round by both fighters.
Interesting to note, isn't it, Alan, that for Rhiney tonight, this is his 52nd contest, the 30th for Dave Boy Green. A lot of people might not have heard much about him, but he's been around for a long time.
He's been around a long time. It's his first time in a big hall like this, and it looks to me that he's risen to the occasion. You know, it could break other fighters, but I think he's risen to the occasion.
Acknowledged, of course, too, as a superb gym fighter, isn't he, Rhiney?
Well, I remember him sparring with Carlos Palomino, and Carlos Palomino sacked him for him to be too good.
Palomino, the only man, of course, to beat Dave Boy Green. Rhiney lost no fewer than 13 times. Here we go for round 2 then. Green moving away from Rhiney at the moment. Rhiney, the slightly taller man, giving away just 3/4 of a pound at the weigh-in today. Quite long legs for a welterweight. These, the 10 stone 7 boys, of course. Green throws the left hand, hoping for that world title shot that he's been seeking again. Now Wilfredo Benitez, the champion, of course, not Carlos Palomino. And it's Rhiney going forward again. He is rising to this occasion. Allen's right. He throws the left hand this time and catches Green. And Green is forced back, and you don't often see the boy from Chatteris, the Fen Tiger, moving backwards. But he has been tonight. An uppercut from Rhiney. And then Rhiney blocks a punch, blocks a hook. Rhiney on the ropes now, and Green opening up. Green throws the right hand, but Rhiney picks him off with a jab. Takes a hook. Rhiney to the body, toe to toe in the centre of the ring in this second round. And we're certainly not having to wait for the action in this one, because they're really going hell for leather early on. A right hook this time for Green. I thought it was on the kidneys, a little bit round the back. Sid Nathan, the referee, said nothing. Rhiney ducks underneath the punch and caught it instead. Then throws a right hand and a hook, and Green there has to defend. A left jab goes in from Rhiney, takes a body punch. Then Green moving backwards all the time. It's unusual, you don't often see it. Rhiney is forcing the pace in the second round. Green then gets a jab going. The heads go in a little bit there, and the referee needs to go in a little bit and stop them doing that. And he does at long last. He separates them, parts them, then Green throws the jab. And if anything, it's Green, the boxer, against Rhiney, the fighter, at the moment. But Rhiney takes a right hand, rush on the nose, a haymaker from Green, Rhiney in trouble, Rhiney in some trouble, takes another right hand, then ducks underneath the follow-up punch, but he took a right hand smack on the button there. Green opening up now to the head. He wants that title shot, and he wants a European title again. Another right hand from him, a swinging left hand from him. Rhiney takes that on the glove, toe-to-toe, a body punch from Green. Again, the head goes in a little bit. Rhiney with an uppercut this time. He's still cool, he's still pretty composed. Green pushes him away, but he has had to take two big right-hand shots. The best one in this round. A swinging right hand to the ribcage from Green there. That wide stance of his. He leans forward and throws the punch almost from his boots, but Rhiney takes it. Then Rhiney gets the jab going. And again it's toe-to-toe, and Rhiney forcing the pace once again after being in a little bit of trouble with 30 seconds to go in the second wave, and Green moving back, moving away. Then comes in behind the jab, showing those boxing skills that Andy's got premised, throwing the jab, and then moving Rhiney back across the ring into Green's own corner. Throws a long right hand, which doesn't connect. Then a jab, and Rhiney now on the receiving end. Then they lean on. Then Rhiney tries to get his own jab working. He's got to remember his boxing. He's got to move around this ring. He's got to keep on his toes early on. But he's being involved in a little bit of a war, a little bit close to Green at the moment. There goes the bell for the end of a thrilling second round. Alan.
Well, a fantastic round by these two fighters. Non-stop from the first round. You had Rhiney, first of all, out-fighting Dave Green, and then Dave Green out-boxing Rhiney, which is very unusual. But then Green took Rhiney with a great right hand, and which staggered him at the end, towards the end of this second round. But there's still not too much in it. He could go both ways. I think 4 or 5 rounds will tell you who's going to nick the fight. There's two very, very fit men in this ring tonight. But I would just slightly give that round to Dave Green, I think.
Do you still think Henry Rhiney is composed? Has he overcome those nerves?
I think he's boxing terrific. I think we just seen Rhiney duck down inside Green's guard and throw uppercuts, which was fantastic. Green looks very, very cool. You know, he's just taking it easy at the moment. You know, he's just waiting for the next round.
Unusual to see Green moving backwards, Alan.
Very unusual indeed, but Rhiney's putting a hell of a lot of pressure on him. I think if Rhiney boxes a bit more, he could have more success.
Thanks, Alan Minter. Here we go for round 3, the European Welterweight Championship. A swinging right-hand punch from Green catches Rhiney right at the start. He just walked straight over to Rhiney's corner. He was hardly out of it, and he took a right hand over the left hand. Good punch from Green. Uppercut from him. Now Rhiney comes back with his own left hand. Sticks the jab in, then the uppercut, then a hook, all at close quarters, leaning on each other. And Green sort of hops away on his back foot with his knee up. I've seen that move from him before. Throws a right hand, Green. This is a war, believe me. And Green then takes another left hand, Rhiney going after him, pushes Green away. Again, Green moving backwards. An unusual tactic from this boy from Chatteris. The Fen Tiger retreating. And then the referee, Sid Nathan, steps in and parts them. This under European rules tonight, a referee and 2 judges, but all British, because 2 British boys involved. And it's Rhiney now coming forward, the man who still works for Chrysler Cars. And if I can say so, he's a little bit of a sunbeam here tonight because he's doing very well indeed. Throws a left-hand punch again, throws the jab, and then Green comes in behind the jab. And we're seeing boxing skills, we're seeing fighting qualities, we're seeing heart, we're seeing everything here. A jab goes in again from Green, and then Rhiney gets his own left-hand punch going. Ducks underneath again, ducking pretty low is Rhiney. Throws a stiff right hand and catches Green on the nose. Oh, an uppercut and a hook. A good hook there underneath the right elbow of Green. Another hook. 2 good body punches from Rhiney, who's now changing his tactics. Going for the head for the most part before, now going for the body, leaning on each other. Again, Rhiney goes for the body. And this is the kind of thing that Green is not usually used to receiving. And Green going backwards. And then Rhiney takes a hook. We're in round 3. And it seems we've had about 15 rounds of this. A left jab goes in again from Rhiney. You've seen more action in 3 rounds here than you sometimes see in 15. Another jab goes in from Green. They trade jabs, left-right combination from Green, and it's that right hand from Green that might tell. That's the one that troubles Rhiney, and he took it again there. He led off with a left-hand Green and then followed up with a right cross, and Rhiney took it on the chin. That goatee-bearded chin. A left jab goes in from the coloured boy, from Luton, originally from Jamaica. Green goes after him, left-right combination, and then Rhiney fights back. Fights his way back, and Green is again forced in. The heads clash there. Sid Nathan, the referee, acknowledges the fact, stops them doing it, parts them, then in they go again, and the heads lean on each other. 30 seconds to go of this round, this 3rd round for the Welterweight Championship of Europe. Rhiney is British champion too, but that's not really at stake here tonight. The jab goes in again from Rhiney, and then left combination from Green. Just so cool, no smoke of Rhiney was thrown for the
fantastic. You had Rhiney absolutely throwing brilliant punches to Green, hurting Green, doing what Green normally does to other opponents, is throwing these great body shots, but Rhiney done it to Green and he hurt Green. Then as the rounds started to go on, then Green threw another right hand which caught Rhiney. It's one of them punches that you can see it being thrown, but you can't see it. You think it's going to miss you, but it hits you on the chin. But it looks to me that Green is gradually getting on top. Rhiney just went through the ropes and a little bit tired. He looks tired in his corner, panting away. Green looks very composed, just sitting there, just taking it easy. Andy Smith, not too bothered. It looks like Green is gradually getting on top.
And happy to see, Alan, no facial damage at all.
Nothing at all on both fighters, no.
Super.
Both
boys taking advice. Let's see what it provides in this fourth round. Green throws the jab. On the attack straight away in this fourth. Rhiney toe-to-toe with him, giving no quarter. Going forward again, this time himself. Navy blue shorts he's wearing tonight against the bright red shorts of Dave Boy Green. A left hook goes in from Rhiney this time. The man who's 2 years older. Another left hand goes in. They trade left hands this time. And then Green trying to pick him off with the jab. I don't think I've ever seen Green use the jab so much as he's been using so far. And then he throws the jab again, but this time he doesn't connect. And Rhiney holds his guard up high. And then as Green ducks low, he gets caught by an uppercut from Rhiney. Rhiney with the uppercut that time. Nearly went out of the ring in the last round, but I think it was he overbalanced trying to get out of the way of Green's punches rather than the fact that he was knocked out. A left jab goes in this time from Rhiney with a very wide stance, boxing with a very wide stance indeed, and then he gets caught by Green. They trade jabs this time. Green, the stronger man, it looks at the moment, but Rhiney coming in with a left hand this time, then an uppercut from him, then a hook from him. 3-4 good punches from the champion. Remember that Rhiney is the champion. A left hand goes in again from him. Green ducks underneath and again. Green is forced to retreat around the ring from the man who holds the British and European titles. And few people knew about it, really, because you have to say that Rhiney has been an anonymous boxer for most of his career, but he will have fame and glory and money if he wins this tonight, and possibly a world championship bid too against Wilfredo Benitez, the new world champion at welterweight. Good right hand from Rhiney. Rhiney caught Green with a good right hand. We've seen Green in some thrilling contests, but none finer than this so far. Right-left combination from Green, this time to the body. And a haymaking right hand again. Another left jab from him. It's that right hand that starts down by his knee. Then he swings it to the body. And then Rhiney grapples and holds him, and Sid Nathan, the referee, forces himself in with some difficulty, I tell you, and forces Green back away from Rhiney. Minute to go in this fourth round. Rhiney with the jab now. An uppercut from Green, an uppercut from Rhiney, a jab from Green, a little smile from Green. He talks to Rhiney. Let's get to work. My heavens, they've been getting to work. A jab goes in again from Green this time. A right hand from Rhiney. I like the way he leads off with a right hand from time to time, and Rhiney goes down. He slipped down. I think he overbalanced there. No count. And I certainly didn't see a punch go in that put him down there. He overbalanced, he went down on one knee. I must say, he looked a little bit tired, but there was no count. He's up again, and now Green is working to the body. Green goes to the body, and Green looks more full of energy than Rhiney, it has to be said. Moving, on his toes now. Rhiney a little bit flat-footed in this fourth round. I wonder, is Green getting to him? A left hand from Green. Rhiney hangs on there, comes in, grapples. They tie up, 10 seconds to go in this fourth round for the welterweight championship of Europe. Green challenging. He held a European title before at light welterweight. Two good jabs from him, and I think Rhiney in a little bit of trouble right at the end there, Alan.
Another great round by these two fighters. Rhiney looks very tired. He's just walked back to his corner. He's wobbled. He's sat down. He looks a little bit exhausted. Green looks strong, but towards the end of that round, he was getting a little bit tired. Rhiney, the European champion, I think should stay back and just keep behind his jab. He's the champion. Let Dave Green come and take it away from him. That's how I see the fight. It's for Rhiney to back off and jab. He's the champion, so let Dave Green come and try and take it away from him. Green looks still very cool. You know, he's just Andy Smith not too excited. You know, just talking to him gradually. He's panting a bit, Henry Rhiney, but two fit men. You know, hell of a fight.
Green, of course, used to the great occasion.
Of course, yeah. I mean, and I think Rhiney's risen to it, to be honest with you, but the pressures that Green puts on a person is unbelievable. But that's why I say Rhiney, not to trade with him, but just to back off and jab.
Here we go then for round 5. Remember, this scheduled for 12. And you can't say that it is one or two individual shots that have troubled Rhiney, but rather the amount of punches that he's had to weather. Green just never stops throwing them, throws the jab again, and Rhiney goes backwards. Now, remember earlier on, Green was moving backwards. Now Rhiney forced back across the ring, and Green going for headshots this time. Catches Rhiney with that beautiful right hand again, then throws 1-2 crisp jabs. I must say, Green's jab is looking sweet against an acknowledged technical boxer here. Good jabs from Green. Rhiney throws his up, but there's no weight behind it. Better punch from Green. Throws that right hand, the big right hand. This time Rhiney is composed enough to just move inside it, so the punches went round the back of Rhiney. They're toe-to-toe in the centre of the ring again now. Rhiney trying to get his work rate moving once again. Cannot do so because it's Green the aggressor. Then Green does move away to the neutral corner on the far side. They have a little breather. Perhaps only the second in this contest as they lean on each other and no punches are thrown. A minute down in this fifth round. It's Green works to the body this time. The body up to the body this time. And then Rhiney leans on him and moves inside, hits the range of Green's punches so he can't really get the leverage. And then Green pushes him away, wants to get him back in distance to throw those punches and hurt him to the body again like he did. Rhiney took the breath. Rhiney took the first round. The first round was from Green. And then was a really superb match. Rhiney took the pressure of the chin. But now it's in trouble. He went the rest of the first round. Rhiney took the pressure of the circle. Grab the circle. And he's taking punishment from Green. Green has him on the ropes on the far side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sid Nathan gives him a standing count. Green thinks it's over. But Nathan is taking... Sid Nathan is giving Rhiney a standing 8 count. Green thought he'd finished him, but he may well have now. Sid Nathan moves in. He stops it. Rhiney was champion for 7 weeks. Dave Boy Green has won the European welterweight championship, stopping Dave Boy Green in the 5th round. Henry Rhiney started well, but he could not weather the inevitable storm, and the crowd here at the Albert Hall rise to the new welterweight champion of Europe, Dave Boy Green. It's his second European title. He was light welterweight champion, and now he's European champion, and that world title bid, the second one of his life, looks on against Wilfredo Benitez, but a courageous display by Rhiney. He gave everything in the first few rounds. Peter.
Well, what a tremendous fight that was, as you were saying, Desmond, really quite remarkable. What's remarkable to me at this moment is that Dave Boy Green, the Fen Tiger, standing just above me, is in fact showing a few tears. He's put his arms around Andy Smith, and his emotion even a tough as man as Dave Boy Green, coming all the way from Charteris. Disappointments, listen to the announcement.
Gentlemen, in 1 minute and 59 seconds of this, the 5th round, the referee has stopped the contest to save Rhiney from further punishment. Gentlemen, the winner and new European welterweight champion, Dave Boy Green.
Well, the Albert Hall here rise to the man who's now forgotten the tears. And he stands above us and he does a little jig and he puts his arms round the 7-week-old champion. That's just how long Henry Rhiney was champion of Europe at this welterweight division, just 7 weeks. It's all over, in fact, for Henry Rhiney. We called him the unknown. Well, in fact, he showed some very, very good class and some very good style indeed. And at this moment above me, Andy Smith, the manager, looking very pleased with Desmond Lynham.
We'll have a word with Dave Boy Green in a moment, and Andy Smith, his manager. Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Performance.
Thank you.
Superb performance. That world title bid for you, the second one looks on after that.
Yeah, that's just what I want. I know I could do it this time.
I must say that I thought Rhiney was a courageous performer here
He
tonight.
came out of his storm to take me out of the stride. He fought a great fight for 5 rounds, but I knew he couldn't keep that pressure up. If a man can keep that up, I can keep it up. I'm sure he will.
Well, once or twice, in fact, you look the boxer, and he looked the fighter.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
can
the
box
other way around.
I can box a little bit.
You
more
certainly can.
More than they give me credit for.
The jab was working beautifully, I thought.
Yeah, that's what Mr. Smith has taught me over the last 12 months, and it's really working. I'd just like to say thanks for all the fans who are at home who can't make it this evening. Thank you very much.
Terrific performance, Dave, and congratulations. Well done. Let's have a word with Andy. I was just saying there that Dave's, you were saying before, weren't you, today, that you were hoping that Dave's style might have changed a little bit, that you were hoping he would compose himself a bit more. He did that, didn't he?
He did that. He certainly did. Rhiney fought a very, very courageous fight. But, you know, there's only one thing to say here. When they fight this guy, they're in his street. You know, Dave Green would love to fight in a telephone kiosk. And Rhiney came to a fight which suited us very well.
Yeah. Well, is that's your father, is it? That's Dave's father. Congratulations, Andy. Congratulations, Dave Green. And for the first time I've seen him here, Dave Green's father is in the ring as well. I wonder if we can have a word with him. Let's see if we can get him over here. Well, he's going over to the other side of the ring at the moment. They're taking photographs, but he'll be with us any moment. And that tiger skin dressing gown will be going on Dave. Mr. Green. Well, he's going to have a photograph taken. I think we'll have a word with Mr. Green, Andy, in a moment. I don't think we've had a word with him before. Why don't we see what he thought of it? Mr. Green. My name's Desmond Lynham. It's nice to see you here. I don't think I've seen you here at Dave's fights before. Certainly not in the ring.
I'm always here. Yes, I have been in the ring before.
Have you?
Yes.
Well, I haven't seen that. What did you think of your son's performance tonight? You must be a very proud man.
I thought he was great. I thought he'd done it very, very well indeed.
Now, look, they can't stop cheering him, can they?
No.
What's it like to be the father of a very good boxer?
Well, I'm very proud, of course, and well, it's made a lot of difference to our life and the excitement of it, I'm sure, yes.
Did you start him on his way? Did you encourage him?
I'd like to think I did, yes.
Oh, yes, we've encouraged him in all kinds of sport.
And you want him to fight for that world title again?
Yes, I do, yes.
And to win it?
I would love to see him win that.
marvellous.
It would, yes.
Congratulations.
Win that.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Back to Peter.
Thank you very much indeed, Desmond. Well, still a lot of action going on up in that ring, and the man who's been sitting alongside me, Doug Bidwell, the manager of Alan Minto, who had just a quick word before it all started. All right, Doug, it's all over. Let's have a word from you about that one.
Well, I thought Green would be too strong for Rhiney, and I thought the first 4 rounds would tell us if that was so, because Green did have a lot to lose in this fight with the promise of a world title fight, etc., and we know very well the feelings before a fight of that nature. But he cast them all aside and fought magnificently, really, and Rhiney really took a lot of stick. He tried very, very hard, but at the finish just never had enough strength or power to do anything about Green's attacks.
In fact, Doug, looking at your face during that contest, it seemed to me that you were very impressed the way Rhiney was going, although in the end he was steamrolled by Dave Boy Green. I think you were impressed, weren't you, in those opening
I was
rounds?
very much so, because I still think the best punch of the fight that was shown by Rhiney at the end of the 3rd round. I left hook right on the point of Green's chin, but it was too late for him to do anything in that round, and I think it was just really a hit and hope punch, really. But yeah, I was impressed. He did try very, very hard, but just was steamrolled, and that was it, you know.
So where does Dave Boy Green stand now, Doug, in terms of a world title? I mean, we're talking about Wilfredo Benitez, 20 years of age, you know, he's young and he's strong. He's a good world champion, they tell me. How, in fact, would Green stand there?
Well, I wouldn't like to say, you know, I mean, that would be for Andy Smith to say. He's the manager of Dave Green. But what I've seen of Benitez, he looks particularly good. And I would think Green would probably have 2 or 3 more fights to regain the old confidence and the style before he tackles somebody like Benitez.
So as a manager like Andy Smith, would you be very pleased with what you saw from your man, if your man was Dave Boy Green?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would be. Yeah.
Well, there you are then. That was the big one. It produced all the excitement, produced all the drama we expected. It's all over, in fact. And the new European champion is the man from Chatteris, the man from Cambridgeshire, the man they like to call the carrot farmer. Carrot farmer he may be, but certainly champion he now is of Europe. In fact, before you leave us tonight on Sport on 2 Special, we've got another little special for you, because just coming into the ring, in fact, or a few minutes ago, is Charlie Magri, the young man from Stepney. He's up against the Italian, Filippo Belvedere. Charlie Magri, of course, the British flyweight champion, the official contender, indeed, for the European title held by the Italian Franco Udella. Let's just get a little touch of this one, then. Charlie Magri against Filippo Belvedere. Your commentator once more, Desmond Lynham.
Yes, if we've had the big one, I suppose this is the little one. They're about 8 stone apiece. They're about 5 foot tall. And Magri, the really hot property of British boxing, along with Dave Boy Green and Alan Minter alongside me here at flyweight, hoping for a European title shot. Indeed, he's nominated as the official challenger against Franco Udella of Italy. Now, this man from Italy, Filippo Belvedere, is in trouble right at the start. Magri has caught him right at the start, and I don't think he'll weather the storm, this man. He's 29 years of age, been around for a long time, but I don't think he's really met the class of Magri for a good while, and Magri is going after him. His 10th professional bout here tonight, throws punches from all sorts of angles at Belvedere's head, and then the jab goes in once again. And now Belvedere just covers up on the ropes on the far side. I was going to say that the only one to ever have stopped him is Franco Udella, the reigning European champion, but I don't think that record will last long here, because I feel pretty sure that Magri's going to do a job on him. Magri keeps him on the ropes there, throws punches to the head with both hands. Difficult to describe what sort of punches, because they're going in so thick and fast, and Belvedere will do well, I think, to survive a round or two here. He's 29 years of age, and he's lost as many bouts as he's won, unfortunately, but you see, the trouble is that Magri is really running out of opponents in Europe. He's that good. And until he fights for the European title, well, then he'll start meeting the Mexicans and all those little men from the far-off corners of the earth that are really as good as he is. But now he's on top again, and Belvedere is really only surviving this opening round, with Magri working to the body and then switching the attack to the head, a hook to the head. As an amateur, he fought always to the head. But now, as a professional, he hits really hard to the body with either hand. He's got a superb hard dig in both hands. A minute to go in this opening round, and Belvedere in the neutral corner above me. Wow, that punch goes into his rib cage, and then a hook to the head, and it's hurting me, believe me. Lefts and rights to the head. I don't think the referee will allow it to continue much longer. Left-right combination, one-sided. Belvedere hasn't really landed a solid punch, and Magri just pins him there on the ropes. Another right hand, and the man from Pesaro in Italy, I think, may well not survive this round. He is taking all sorts of punishment to the head. Yes, Mike Jacobs, the referee, goes in and stops it, and that's another one-round victory for Charlie Magri, his 10th win and his 9th stoppage in 10 bouts. Quick, short, precise, and very good. Charlie Magri.
Well, it was short, it was sweet, Cosmo. I'll tell you what, you said a moment ago you were being hurt by that. I was certainly being hurt by that. Tremendous stuff from Charlie Magri. I said we'd just get a taste of it. We got it. That's all it was. Tremendous, flourishing stuff then from Charlie Magri, and that, in fact, is all over as far as that one is concerned. Let me also tell you, therefore, that the new European welterweight champion tonight is Dave Boy Green from Chatteris. In fact, he made very short work of the champion, Henry Rhiney. So Dave Boy Green has had his night here tonight. In earlier fights, Jimmy Batten beat Andra Love from Houston, Texas. Stan McDermott of Basildon beat Gordon Ferris of Enniskillen. And Dave Proud of Penge beat Colin Ward of Northampton. All those 3 contests on points. But the significant thing tonight is that the new European welterweight champion is Dave Boy Green from Chatteris. From us all here at the Albert Hall, a very good night.
Sport on 2 Special was a Radio Sports Unit production, and I must take time to apologise to listeners in the West Country who apparently got Tuesday night as gala night until 8:45. Awfully sorry about that, but hope you enjoyed the rest of the sport.
It's 10 o'clock, and this is Andrew Turner at the news desk. The Liberal leader David Steele has suggested that the 3 main political parties should get together in a bid to solve Britain's economic and industrial problems. He also called for a statutory but temporary wages freeze, along with legislation to redefine trade union rights and to re-establish no-strike agreements in the vulnerable parts of the public services. Mr. Steele said strikers should not be allowed to organise what he termed mobile mobs to intimidate others in mass pickets. His remarks come while lorry and train drivers, as well as public service workers, are taking industrial action in support of pay claims. Their stoppages and work to rule, together with the heavy snow and ice across southern Britain, have caused disruption in many areas. British Rail say there'll probably be delays tomorrow, especially on the southern region. Tonight, the latest talks on the train drivers' dispute ended abruptly without any agreement. The ASLEF leader, Ray Buckton, said negotiations had taken a serious turn for the worse. He added that he was rather disgusted at how the meeting between the 3 rail union leaders and British Rail had gone. There is some good news on the industrial front, though. Ambulance men on Merseyside are going back to work at midnight, and they'll handle all emergency cases and some non-emergency ones. And Manchester Airport, which has been closed for most of the day, reopened early this evening. Abroad now, Israeli government officials say a compromise formula has been worked out which might lead to the resumption of peace talks with Egypt. This follows a week of discussions with the American envoy Alfred Atherton. If the Israeli cabinet now approves the formula, Mr. Atherton will fly to Egypt tomorrow to discuss it with President Sadat. The Italian film actress Sophia Loren has been cleared in a Rome court on charges of smuggling currency, but her film producer husband Carlo Ponti was sentenced in his absence to 4 years jail and fined £14 million. The couple have both lived in France for several years, and Mr. Ponti is unlikely ever to return to Italy. The case mainly concerned the making of the thriller film The Cassandra Crossing. That's the news. Now I've just got a quick motoring flash. 2 messages of importance to motorway drivers. In Buckinghamshire, there will be no gritting on the M1 between junction 13, the turn-off to Bletchley, and junction 15, the Stony Stratford turn-off, from now until further notice. This is all part of the Newpie dispute. It's freezing hard on that section at the moment, so extra care, please. That's in Buckinghamshire between junctions 13 and 15 on the M1. And in the West Midlands, there'll be no gritting on the motorways throughout Birmingham for the next 24 hours. That's because of a lightning dispute by motorway workmen. The motorways involved are the M5, M6 and M42. And that's our news and traffic information at just before 3 minutes past 10.